Thanks very much for joining us here at the Sandton Convention Centre, where we're attending the Black Industrialists and Exporters Conference, which was organised in a space of a month. And basically this conference seeks to bring around 500 or 600 black industrialists. I was in conversation not that long ago with the Minister of Trade and Industry and Competition. He was telling us that around 600 black industrialists are expected to come here. We also have what they call a marketplace where various black businesses are going to be showing us some of the industries that they're playing in, the factories that they're working in, showing us their end products and so on and so forth. And we'll be looking to capture that for you as the day progresses. And of course, a big part of supporting black industrialists is funding. And one of the players that have been involved in this whole process is the National Empowerment Fund. And to tell us a bit more about the work that they've been doing in this arena, I'm joined by Andile Stemela. He actually is responsible for the area of funding, but he can tell us a little bit more. Thank you very much, Andile, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, when it comes to the issue of the black industrialists and even exporters, because if you're a black industrialist, it doesn't necessarily mean that you automatically export, but just tell us about some of the work of the NEF in terms of supporting people as startups and SMEs and so on and so forth.
Yes, thanks, Nompu. So I think with the National Empowerment Fund, we've taken quite what we deem a very risk-hungry approach to say, let us develop these businesses from the ground up. To that end, we've developed a fund within the organization that is responsible for early stage development of projects, particularly within these industrial sectors, your manufacturing, your infrastructure type of projects. To date, we've developed a portfolio with a combined value of close to 13 billion rand, supporting about 23 different entities. And this, is alongside our track record of having been involved funding over 1,000 different black businesses since inception, approving close to 12 billion rand and supporting over 100,000 jobs.
How impactful has your seed investment been in these companies? How do you track and ensure that they're doing well?
So our approach is all-encompassing in that we take them from where we deem them to be pre-investment, put them through quite a focused and intensive business case development or feasibility establishment process.
And you kind of incubate them?
Yes, in a sense. And then we then actually hold their hands through the process of commercializing the business. Post commercialization of that business, we continue to be involved either from just a monitoring perspective through our post-investment or as an actual shareholder or partner with these businesses where we can be actively involved and guide some of the strategic decisions that the business needs to make.
Do you have any nice stories or developments you can tell us in terms of your investment in, say, women, the youth and so on?
Definitely, without a doubt. I think we pride ourselves in funding women through our portfolio, and we have a number of women entrepreneurs who to date stand atop some of their different industries. For example, I work with a couple of ladies who are in the health devices space, and theirs is to develop the first renal consumables business within the country. And that business is partnering now with investors in Europe and funders throughout the world. So definitely we watch closely, and we try to ensure that we empower the women through our deliberate Women Empowerment Fund strategy.
Just in terms of viewers who are perhaps watching, from far-flung parts of the country, in the rural areas, for example, we know that we live in the age of the internet, but accessibility is not always there for everybody. Yeah. But say if people have good ideas, how accessible is the NEF, to assisting those kinds of people?
Yeah. So and that's one thing that a few years ago we were tasked with internally, to say we have to be as accessible as possible. Since that time, we have opened a branch in every province of the country. Our regional managers are active in trying to reach the most rural and most far-flung districts. We then even partner with the likes of your Northern Cape government to actually find that pipeline of black businesses that require the funding, and then through a concessionary approach or a blended approach, through the support of those provincial governments and the NEF's own balance sheet, we then fund those businesses.
Just reflecting back on the COVID period, obviously the economy slowed down, businesses slowed down. What then did that mean for the NEF? Did you continue to support businesses, or did you hold back funding? It was a very uncertain time. What happened then?
Yes. So I think for us, what you realize is that as much as you have this important mandate to fund black businesses, they're not immune to the realities of the world. And indeed, we saw a slowdown in their performance, and as such, this impacted their ability to repay on some of their loans. To that end, we then partnered with the DTIC, our shareholder, to say, let us make available further concessionary funding to support these businesses. We set aside around, I think it was around 200 million, of which I think we fully approved those businesses. And we can proudly say that some of these businesses are even here today, exhibiting some of their goods and ready to step up to that next level, which is quite fantastic.
That's a very positive story. Thank you very much, Andile, for talking to us. Andile Stemela from the National Empowerment Fund, just telling us about the role that they've played in this whole business of making the Black Industrialist a success. We're going to go for a quick break, and then, of course, we'll hand over to our colleagues at Morning Live.